As your cloud application scales, you'll eventually be faced with an all-too-common problem. How do I maintain tight control over network resources, but not be a roadblock to teams spinning up the resources they need to do work? In this episode of Cloud Networking, I show you that you can have the best of both worlds using shared VPCs. Large organizations with multiple cloud projects value the ability to share resources while maintaining logical separations between groups or departments. And this makes complete sense. Centrally, network admins are on the hook to maintain sanity for the overall network, so sharing resources is critically important. But every team has special needs, meaning that it's a constant churn for admins to have to set up new projects, access policies, billing, quotas, etc., etc. If your company is large enough, this can be a full-time job. That's why Google created Shared VPC, which allows an organization to connect resources from multiple projects to a common VPC network so that they can communicate with each other securely and efficiently using internal IPs from that network. When you use Shared VPC, you designate a project as a host project and attach one or more service projects to it. The VPC networks in the host projects are called Shared VPC networks. With Shared VPC, you can centrally manage the creation of routes, firewalls, subnet IP ranges, VPN connections, and more for the entire organization and allow developers to own billing, quotas, and IAM permissions and autonomously operate their development projects. For example, imagine you were the network admin at an e-commerce company. You have a single externally facing web application server that uses services like personalization, recommendation, and analytics, all internally available, but built by different development teams. You can have a shared VPC network with a host project and 3 service projects for personalization, recommendation, and analytics, all on different subnets. With Shared VPC, the network and security admin would set up the overall security policies in the host project, like restricting which VMs can have public IPs and access to the internet by setting up an organization policy that disables external IP access for VMs. In this example, the personalization, recommendation, and analytics services. Meanwhile, each team would be able to start spinning up VMs in their assigned service project and decide more fine-grained details like setting up compute resources. And VMs still get the same network throughput caps and VM-to-VM latency as when they're not on shared networks. Let's dive into how to set up a shared VPC. At the organizational level, my login, stephanie.wong, currently has org admin and shared VPC admin privileges. I can also assign the shared VPC admin role to somebody else in my org. Switching over to my host project, I created a custom VPC called VPC1 and 2 subnets, development and production. I also created 2 firewall rules, one to allow SSH to all instances in the network, and one to allow ICMP traffic between instances in these subnets. In the Shared VPC page, first enable host project to be the host project by clicking Set up Shared VPC. I'm going to select sharing individual subnets. This option allows you to share specific subnets in the host project VPC with your service project. Then select the VPC1 dev and prod subnets. Let's attach 2 service projects, development and production. Make sure the Compute Engine API has been enabled in each service project before attaching them. Here you can edit the default permissions given to this service project. Then click Save. You can now see host project is the shared VPC host with 2 subnets, and it has 2 attached service projects. This is also where you can add additional host project users and admins. Now I'm going to log into my development project owner account, John, who only has permission to that project. Switching to the development project, create a new VM. And add a development tag. Then select Network Shared with Me from the host project so that you can select the dev subnet. Once it's done creating, copy the internal IP of the instance since you'll need it just in a second. Next, I'll switch to Mary's account, who is the owner of the production project. Create a new VM in the production subnet and add a production tag. Making sure to change the zone to the one in the production subnet region, select the prod subnet. When both VMs are done creating, You can see I can SSH into the prod instance and ping the dev instance's internal IP address since I've created the right firewall rules in the host project Shared VPC. Now, you just want to make sure that when configuring subnet IP ranges in the same or different regions, you allow for sufficient IP space between the subnets for future growth. Plus, GCP lets you expand an existing subnet without affecting any existing VM's IP address and with zero downtime. How cool is that? Shared VPC is a powerful feature that makes GCP more flexible and manageable for your organization. Yep, that means you might just have enough time to go fishing on the weekend without a fire drill ping interrupting that overhead cast. To learn more, check out the documentation link below. And remember, optimizing your network means freeing up your bandwidth.